Welcome to La Taverna Friuli Wines, the definitive podcast on wines from Friuli, Venezia Giulia. I'm your host, Wayne Young. Hey there, Friuli wine fans. Welcome back, my Anglophonic fans and friends, to the first English podcast of the 6th season of La Taverna Friuli Wines. Got a lovely couple lined up for this episode. A couple that my good friend Ben Little has called future people. I love that. Ben really knows that these guys are part of the future of Friuli and wine. Daniele Lenuzza from the Lenuzza Winery and his lovely wife Tanika Paris are our guests. This is the first part of a fairly long conversation that I had with them, but I really enjoyed talking to Daniele and Tanika. You can really see that they are trying to do something new and exciting in Prepotto, the little town of Prepotto, famous for Schioppettino. So they're working with indigenous varieties. They're also working another winery in South Africa. They have 2 children. Oof. These are kids who like to work. I'll tell you, I can tell. They spend their winters down in South Africa making wine down there, and then they come back. I recorded this episode during the summer, so they were here getting ready for the fall 2024 harvest in Prepotto, and I'm sure very soon they will be heading back down to South Africa. Anyway, I don't want to keep up too much more of your time with my introduction, so here we go with part 1 of our conversation with Daniele Lenuzza and Tanika Paris from the Lenuzza Winery. I'm really actually interested to hear about how you two met. How did these worlds collide? That's what I'm really interested in hearing.
And that's what really did happen. They collided.
Okay.
Quite literally.
Did you crash into each other somewhere? Like, was it a car accident?
No.
Okay.
It was much more fairy tale than that.
Okay.
How it basically happened was I had just finished studying marketing.
Okay.
In South Africa. I'm from South Africa, and marketing and Chinese language, of which I finished the degree in China.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I flew back to see my parents and kind of prepare my luggage because I was offered a bursary to do my master's in England.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And at the same time, this was in 2017, in the beginning of the year. At the same time, Daniele was in South Africa.
Okay.
Doing a harvest experience with Hamilton Russell Vineyards.
Okay.
A beautiful, really, I would say, famous winery in the Hemelinarde region. Okay.
In the what region?
Hemelinarde.
Oh, okay. This is a new one for me.
Yeah, Hemelinarde region is a beautiful region where they predominantly focus on Pinot Noir and Chardonnay.
Okay.
Yeah. And how it happened is that I was not supposed to go to this one wine fair, and neither was he, but we ended up going, and we quite literally walked into each other.
Wow.
Yeah. And that was it.
Was it love at first sight?
Yes. It was fireworks and
really?
Yeah, the world stopped. Yeah.
I love that. That's really good. So and you are originally, Daniele, you're originally from Prepotto.
Yeah.
Did were you in South Africa for like a stage or for something like that? Or what were you doing there?
After studying in Cividale for 6 years,
Yeah.
I went a little bit around some Australia, and then 2017 I went down to South Africa without knowing one word of English and without knowing anything. Like just ran away from Prepotto for a bit. And after 3 months of South African, I met Tanika. So I have to pay the whole time until then.
Yeah, we met at the last 3 days of his trip.
This was like fate testing you to see if you could withstand
100%.
It's always
the
like that,
3
like-
months there. So if you at that 1 month, if you had sort of checked out and said, I can't do this anymore, you would have never met.
We would have never met.
There you go.
I know.
And then all the rest is history now.
Yeah. And so you guys met in 2018, you said, or 17?
2017.
Fantastic.
The same year we got married.
Really?
Yes.
Bing, bang, boom.
Bing, bang, boom.
Fantastic.
Yeah. And so this year it'll be 7 years. 7 years.
Congratulations, guys.
2 kids.
Yeah, 2
7
kids.
years,
Yeah,
2
2
kids.
kids. 1 dog.
Let's see. 7 years, 2 kids, 1 dog, 2 wineries.
2 wineries.
2 wineries, because you guys are not just doing Prepotto, you're also doing South Africa.
Yeah, we couldn't just skip it. Like,
So the thing
we
that-
had to go back.
Was the South Africa project something that you were already involved in, Tanika? Is that something that's part of your family, or how did that all come about?
No. My family are completely wine enthusiasts. In fact, we come from a winemaking region, the Stellenbosch region. Okay, so
That one I've heard of.
yeah. So I mean, wine is very predominant in the area, but this is something that actually came about after we had met, because quite literally, Africa steals your heart. And
That's what everybody tells me.
Everyone says, and it's true. And as happy as we are to continue the winery here and to really build something unique, Daniele really felt this pull back to Africa. He had to go back to the region where he was producing Pinot Noir, and we wanted to do something ourselves and kind of close the circle of our story.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
It literally starts like an alibi to go back to South Africa every
Just
year.
an excuse.
Now it's a full business. So
Now it's a full business. And so how big is the winery in South Africa?
we currently produce this year about 15,000 bottles.
Okay, so it's not small.
No, only Pinot Noir from the Imolenado Valley and
Okay.
Chenin Blanc from the Swartland bush, whole bush vines.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that we focus only on 2 varietals, very high quality, and that's it.
They're completely on the opposite sides of the coasts of Cape Town.
Okay.
So the Imolenado is in the cool climate region, very, very close to the Atlantic and Indian Ocean.
Okay.
So it's an amazing maritime influence. And on the other side, we have the Swartland, so really hot and dry, average 40 degrees every day.
And so what's planted in Swartland?
the Pinot Noir.
The Pinot Noir. Okay.
Noir,
So
yeah.
Pinot Noir in the hot region.
No, in the cool climate.
In the cool climate, sorry.
Yes, in the cool climate, and Chenin in the hot region.
Okay.
The great thing for me was to start a project with a white paper. Okay.
Okay.
And say where I want to be, what we want to do, what's the target. Because in Friuli, we develop and we change everything for what my grandfather started and then my father were keep doing. So that was no white paper. It was a book, and we need
Okay.
to start reading and writing the
new
next chapter.
yeah.
So
Okay. So yeah, you were continuing the
Yeah.
story there.
And that's
This
very
was a
hard.
whole new-
which is also amazing to do, because
Right.
there's a whole book, that you have to continue, which is also amazing.
Right.
At the same time, they're completely two different concepts.
Right.
Yeah.
And what are some of the, I mean, obviously we're talking geographically, but what are some of the big differences between working in Italy and working in South Africa?
culture,
Culture, for example?
that's the first thing that stands on me, actually. And
Culture for wine, culture for
Culture
work,
in-
culture for...
for living,
For living.
work, for people.
What's life like in South Africa? What's the, because I always figured that Italy's fairly laid back. Is it even more laid back in South Africa?
Times 100.
Times 100.
always warm, always sunny.
Yes. Let me give you this example. From Wednesday,
Yeah.
basically weekend.
Really?
Yes, that's the small Saturday already, Wednesdays.
So it's just Monday and Tuesday is the work week.
Basically.
You know what's the problem with? Because at the beginning it was frustrating for me to work in that environment. But now after 5-6 years, I getting too used. And then it's a problem for me when I come back to Friuli.
Oh,
That you need to
okay.
push,
oh,
and that's
no.
gonna be a
I have
problem.
to
There's a
actually
big there's a
work
big
5
there's a
days.
big work ethic in this area. Very very
Right.
very strong work ethic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very
Friulani are
exactly.
known for that.
Strong.
What was
Continuously working.
Right. What were some of the big things for you, Tanika, to get used to coming to Italy, coming to Friuli? culturally or work-wise or
Well, like
climate-wise?
yeah, the climate is
Definitely the winters are not the best.
no the winter.
Apart from
The
Yeah,
But
winter
you're down in South Africa during the winter, aren't you?
only for 3 of the months, but let's not
okay.
lie. Here, the winter starts like already in October, November.
More or less, yeah.
So
We're more looking for good springs. After a summer in winter in South Africa, we come back in March and we're looking for Friuli spring. In the last couple of years,
It's been
was
terrible.
Yes,
It's been like cold and rainy.
yes.
no, I have to say, everyone always advised me, and they said, it's maybe not going to be super friendly everywhere, and this and that. But I haven't had that experience. I really haven't. The thing that definitely made a massive difference was the language. And entering into the world of wine, if you couldn't kind of communicate and explain your standpoint on things in the Italian language, you were just a bit misconceived. So that was definitely a big learning curve. And in fact, I decided from here no further, I will learn the language.
Okay. How's that going?
No, it's great. In 6 months,
Yeah?
I picked it up. Yeah.
You're one of those. Okay.
Chinese was easier, but anyway.
Chinese was easier than Italian?
Yeah.
Come
For me, yes. Yeah, it was way more direct. You know, in Italian, you have a lot of adjectives and you need to explain and really talk in a different way. Anyway.
Interesting.
Yeah. So that was a big thing. I wanted to communicate in the correct way in the wine world. Also to communicate what we were doing, you know, not to be misconceived or misunderstood. So that was probably the biggest change and cultural things.
Okay.
Yeah.
And for you, Daniele, what about this whole idea of bringing sort of maybe a different point of view that you acquired in a place like South Africa and bringing that back to Prepotto?
I think we did everything from our heart, so we didn't have enough time to focus and strategize things too much.
Okay.
I would say, but after now 6-7 years, we can say we are quite in a good level. Our new winery is finished. Our new tasting area is finished. So now we really know what we want to do.
Okay.
And I think we are taking a very international touch to a place like Friuli, like Prepotto, that really, really, really need it.
It needs it. It
know?
definitely needs it.
And we have a international point of view of things. We have an international network. So it helped a lot. And I think it's the way that we need to be. We need to go, and yeah, we're very
But at the same time, he's actually very right when he said that, being a really young couple and getting together and pushing with your heart, not your head first, and you don't overthink too much, actually.
Okay.
And you come from a very genuine point of view. And I think people really perceived that positively. And we never have ever put this kind of modern international thinking above the tradition in the Friuli winery. We actually really believe that without the tradition, we would not be able to do what we are currently doing. So we actually put this first, and then we bring a modern concept towards it.
So let me get a little bit of background on the Lenuzza winery in Prepotto. Give me a little bit of background where that all started. You said, this is
so my grandfather's
a book that started with your grandfather.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like Friuli, but especially our area, right to the border, it'd been between like culture change and First World War, Second World War. So making wine for business start in the small areas like Prepotto only after Second World War, so 1950s. That's where my grandfather divided from his brother and started his own small business. And definitely was very small winery, 1.5 hectares.
Wow. Okay.
And then my father took it over. So my father was not involved in the winery because the winery was on my mom's side.
Okay.
And she was the only daughter.
Okay.
And as a farmer, my grandfather definitely told her, just go study, just go do office work, like
get out of this world.
Get out of this world. And then long story short, my father took the opportunity to challenge himself. So in the 80s, he took over the wineries. Anywhere my grandfather would have sold it already. And he did quite a pretty job to keep doing it and elevating and buy more land, build a new cellar and whatever. And then I took over. My first harvest was actually in 2011. I was still at school.
Okay.
But I would say in 2013, I finished school. I did a lot of experience around in Italy, in Friuli, South Italy. But I was already like trying to push the winery and try to sell the product, because the problem was not making the product, but selling the product.
It always is.
And then 2016, I took over completely. And now Daniele Lenuzza works about 8 hectares of vineyards.
All in Prepotto?
All in Prepotto mostly.
Okay.
Yeah, we have some collaborations with other one farm.
Okay.
All organic. Since 2014, we all organic.
Wow.
And we can count 18 countries where we export our wine. So export is 70% of our business.
Of course. Okay.
Yeah. So we grew quite a bit in quantities, but mostly in quality and focus on products. Only indigenous varietals.
Okay.
Elevated as much as we can. So also the new cellar is the best place where we can really focus on the method, how we make the wine.
How has this new cellar sort of influenced the process of making wine? Have you put in some sort of special systems or whatever to change how you actually make the wine?
So definitely organization is the key of success in any business, in any family, in anything. So we just talk about our products. We have our classic wines that we're drinking today. It's just a nice interpretation of Friuli wines, very vertical, good acidity, aromas, and that's stainless steel and a little bit of wood, 15% wood fermented.
Okay,
But
so we're drinking the Ribolla
Yes,
Gialla.
yes.
So there's a little bit of wood here as well.
Yes.
Thank you, Tanika.
Yeah, you're welcome.
About 15%, and these are wines that are ready for Easter, so they don't have a long.
Ready for Easter.
Yeah.
Okay.
And this one
So
is-
that's sort of typical cycle of,
Yes, yes.
But
But then-
vini della nata.
Yeah.
Okay.
Our classics. We call it classic.
Right.
Cheers.
And then something
Cheers, guys.
that we
Cheers, cheers,
start.
cheers.
Cheers, guys. Thank you for having us here.
No, thanks for coming.
So we start this new project called Indigenously. This starts in 2018
Okay.
when I was a little bit bored about the classic wines, and I tried to elevate it and elevate it and elevate it. But the market was not ready, or we were not ready to elevate the classic to a different level. So I said to myself, okay, let's keep the classic because it works,
Right.
and let's do something different. So indigenously, it's not a name, it's an adjective.
Yeah.
How we do the wine. So we start from the terroir. We select our best vineyards on top of the hills, full of clay, and
Okay.
only old vines. Like on indigenously, the younger vines like 60 years old. On that, we do a new process, I would say, and it's something between old style, new style. So it's a skin contact
Okay.
for 10, 15 days.
Whites.
Whites.
Okay.
Only indigenous.
Only
varietals.
indigenous varietals.
Okay.
Only indigenous yeasts. Okay. We ferment in 10, 15 days, but not for extraction. It's more an infusion.
Okay.
So cold temperatures, manual punch down, so not too much extraction. It's like you have to think about a tea bag, putting in a hot water and just slowly release the...
So not like a full-blown orange
Absolutely.
wine.
We don't want to miss the Friuli elegance, the Friuli verticality. You know, we just want to concentrate a bit and elevate a little bit the product.
Okay.
And after this, we decide, because we study, I try in South Africa, a little bit in Australia, what's the best way to age this wine.
Okay.
Everyone would put in wood. So we create the first cementaya in Friuli, I would say.
All right.
So a part of a cellar only with concrete eggs. The concrete eggs are not vitrified.
Okay.
We have concrete eggs of 700 liters and 22 hectoliters. So
Okay.
different shapes, where this indigenously wine stay for 1 year.
Okay.
So the wine is breathing through the concrete as a wood, but without giving the touch of the wood.
Okay.
So you keep
So not the flavor of the wood.
Absolutely. So you keep the typicity, the identity of Friuli wines 100%.
And you said these are concrete eggs?
Concrete eggs.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So not square tank.
Not square, and
Interesting.
not vitrified. So I think we thought as a project, and when we do projects, we do it 100%.
Okay.
We don't just try on. We try for a couple of years, but then we dedicate a cellar, we dedicate the vineyards, we dedicate this a new brand, the indigenously brand, different labels. Okay.
Different labels as well.
Yes, that is our crew, our top selection. After 1 year in concrete, the wine stay with another extra here on the bottle. So it comes out only after 2 years.
After 2 years. And are these both blends? These two wines?
No. It's 3 white wines:
So
Ribolla, Malvasia.
So always
and Friulano.
monovarietals.
Monovarietals. We don't believe in blends.
You don't believe in blends. We'll talk about this. Go on.
Yeah, and of course the Schioppettino.
Of course.
And that's another, but it's the first main goal, main target, main topic for Vigna Lenuzza. It's Schioppettino di Prepotto.
Okay. And it's Schioppettino di Prepotto? That's the designation, or is it just Schioppettino? Because I thought Schioppettino di Prepotto had to have some wood as well.
Yeah, of
It
course,
does.
of course.
Yeah.
So you can produce Schioppettino in various parts of Friuli. DOC is only in Friuli Colli Orientali,
Right.
but Prepotto is the best appellation. So in 2008, the region decided that Prepotto is really the place of Schioppettino, so it give us the Grand Cru, okay, the Sottozona.
Right.
You know, I like the Grand Cru. That Sottozona sounds like a bottom area. But
Exactly.
It's the best area of growing Schioppettino in Friuli.
Of course.
Okay, because why this? Because we are right on the border with Slovenia. So Prepotto is like a happy Iceland of Friuli, I will say. So we
Okay.
have this ponca soil, this very full clay and stone soil, characteristic of the old Collio and parts of Colli Orientali. But we are very northeast. So we're right at the bottom of a valley called Udrio Valley.
Okay.
And this creates a very special microclimate. So lower temperatures, a little bit higher elevation, but with the same energy of the soil.
Okay.
So that's why the wines that you find in Prepotto are very vertical, very aromatic. You can never find wines for 14, 15 degrees alcohol, you know, and that's very positive because people want to drink less alcohol. They want to drink fresher wines, and the experience that they have, the aroma, the complexity is on the same level.
Okay.
So, and that's why Schioppettino comes out very unique in Prepotto.
Yeah, it's definitely the place to make Schioppettino. And
Yes.
and correct me if I'm wrong. It's because of that sort of less warm situation you have in that little valley there. And that helps kind of
Special microclimate.
right. That helps kind of those spicy elements, those black pepper elements come out.
It's become
Sure.
so expressive.
Right.
Exactly.
Whereas if you put it in a place like Butrio, which is much
Very
warmer,
warm, yeah.
you tend to lose that dimension of Schioppettino. So, yeah. And is Schioppettino has obviously always been important to the Lenuzza winery.
Always been, of
Yeah.
course, but now actually all the new vineyards that we are renovating or planting is on Schioppettino.
Really?
So we almost have 3 hectares of Schioppettino, so it's a very big percentage. We really believe in Schioppettino. We have Schioppettino in 18 markets in the world. So
I think South Africa, if I'm not wrong, South Africa working with Pinot Noir was a big part of Daniele's personal exploration with Schioppettino di Prepotto.
Okay.
The way he looks at the varietal, the way he works with the varietal, that experience really shaped the expression that he wants to give, or that we want to give for our Schioppettino di Prepotto.
Right. I've always heard that sort of comparison between Schioppettino and Pinot Noir. You know, the Schioppettino is the Pinot Noir of Friuli, and I've even heard people like the Rapuzzis, who I work very closely with, say, why do we need Pinot Noir in Friuli when we have Schioppettino? So can we talk a little bit about how those, especially your experience working with both, what do they have in common and what makes them very different?
Friuli got Schioppettino, and definitely better of Pinot Noir because it's unique. So you can't find a wine with the same elegance of Pinot Noir, the same ruffiness, the same feminine touch, but with the spicy and pepperness. That's the characteristic of the Schioppettino. So I come from a winery where my dad tried to follow a little bit the 2005, where was a lot of wood, and if the wine is not 14 degrees alcohol and is deep red color, you don't go anywhere. So it was even in some stages drying some of the grapes, like go on the very extreme extraction, and I always never agree with this.
Okay.
And then after having experience on Pinot Noir, I'm a very big fan of Burgundy, so that's the wine that I drink. So I drink all white wine or I drink Pinot Noir.
Okay.
I don't like heavy red wines.
So no Napa Valley Cabernet for you.
No, it's not my style.
Okay.
Like women, just blonde and neat. So everyone got a target.
Everybody's got their. I don't.
If I can choose, then I can do whatever.
Your type, we would call it in English,
Yes.
right? Like, what's your type?
Yes.
Okay.
So I took the Schioppettino in a different level. So we started getting only planting Schioppettino in the best vineyards of the farm, of the family.
Okay.
We don't have Schiopettinos in flat areas, downtown, like in humid places, because it's not going to work.
Okay.
So Schioppettino need to have the terroir, mostly. And then we put a different concept, like Burgundian Pinot Noir. So where we do only manual punch down, a little bit old bunch to give this Beaujolais type of thing, like 20%, and low temperature fermentation.
Okay.
And this we put in the winery in 2020, a new concept of tini tronco conici,
Okay.
but in concrete.
Whoa. Okay. Interesting.
So also this is not vitrified, so the wine can breathe. They're open at the top, so we climb on top and we just do manual punch now.
It looks like a gondola.
Like you're going for a ride.
Sometimes he sings.
And
yeah?
as you say, the Schioppettino di Prepotto by rule need to have wood, and I'm totally agree that it needs wood, but we can't overpower with the wood. Anyways, we will lose all the pepper, the spiciness, and whatever. So we ferment in concrete. We put in wood from 1 year, manolatic wood.
Okay.
So we can fix the colors and create the body. Wood are only French oak
Okay.
and about 15-20% new oak. After 1 year, we put the wine back in concrete for another year.
Interesting.
So it's concrete, wood, concrete.
A lot of work.
And then
It's a
bottle.
very long.
So it's a 2
aging
years
time,
project
yes.
process. But this for
and this
me,
is for the Schioppettino indigenously? Oh, for both.
For both.
For both.
we don't have second lines of Schioppettino and nothing. Our Schioppettino is Schioppettino di Prepotto and Schioppettino di Prepotto indigenously.
Okay.
It's actually the same wine, the same story, the same vinification. So we try to vinify these 4 or 5 blocks that we have separately. And then before blending from the wood to the concrete, we isolate the best barrels.
Okay.
And it's always for that cru Golan on top of Prepotto, like 180 meters on the sea level, full of ponca. Like it's always that. And we select about 8-10 barrels. We put it apart and you stay another extra in wood, in this case, and then a little bit of concrete and then in bottle. So with the classic Schioppettino, we out now with the 2021 vintage.
Right.
With the Schioppettino indigenously, we out with the 2019.
2019.
Yes.
Wow.
So it's just a longer aging process.
Pre-pandemic.
And this dynamic of the wine, this very light color, this expression, this soft tannins, but with the spiciness and the elegance, it's unique.
Right. One of the complaints that I've had about Schioppettino di Prepotto from time to time, not always, but I would find that the time in wood could be a little bit heavy-handed from time to time, and you sort of eliminate the elegance and the freshness and the spiciness that I feel is so important to Schioppettino. So I love this idea of going cement, wood, cement. So, but it sounds like so much work to do the wine that way. Obviously, there's got to be
nothing come out with little work.
And also, I think it's less about the work and more about giving respect to the varietal.
right.
Without giving respect to the varietal, you're just doing a disjustice. So it's what the varietal needs, we think, and this is our interpretation, our expression, in order to let it literally shine, literally express what it needs to. Yeah.
And you guys also worked very hard on creating the cellar. I mean, I remember driving by and seeing this very big hole in the ground and things being lowered in. I guess those were those concrete eggs, and then reclosing everything over.
No, that's our underground cellar.
Yeah. So you have an underground cellar and an above ground
And then
cellar.
the Degusteria on the top.
So the,
Right.
as I said before, was very hard project to think and imagine how to grow the business, how to grow the winery from 10, 15,000 bottles that my father was bottling to maybe a target in a couple of years of 90,000, 95,000, because we are in a very small village, Prepotto, and we are right in the center. Very great location because it's right in the center.
Yeah.
But the space was very tight.
Okay.
So we renovate completely top to bottom to top, everything. And we needed to expand in a different way. So we make a hole. We dig out about 300 trucks of soil. And we build down an underground cellar of about 200 meter squares. All underground, no temperature control, where we have our barrel cellar and the storage for the bottles. Okay. And on top of that, in our parking lot, we build this very, I would say, modern, unique tasting area that's called Degusteria.
Right.
Okay. And this is also like a new concept of enoturismo or wine traveling and stuff like that. But now in a small village of Prepotto, we are fully organized and fully ready to work in the best way.
Right.
Yeah, I think if we kind of wrote it down, there were three main topics or main strategies that we wanted to kind of move forward with.
Right.
The first was quality, and that's always our first thing on our list. We always try to focus on that first, and then the rest all will actually follow. So it was quality. Then we wanted to increase production.
Okay.
This was after we took over the winery. And then thirdly, communication. How are we going to communicate all of these things that we're doing for the quality, for the territory, to others?
Okay.
I definitely think that when his father was running the winery, there was very little communication as to what they were doing. Maybe because it was not required or it was not seen as necessary. But we all know in today's day and age how important it is to talk about what you're doing and why you're doing it.
Okay.
So these were the three main things.
So obviously the Degusteria is part of that communication.
Absolutely.
So the people come to you, they have a specific place where they sit and enjoy the wines, taste, and who is it always you guys there sort of taking care of your visitors, or do you have someone who helps you out with that, or?
So realistically, it can't always be us. We try our best to be there most of the time because we, apart from the fact that we enjoy public relations.
Okay,
and
that's important.
Yeah, we really enjoy it, and we enjoy connecting with people and connecting people to wine and talking about this beautiful territory that we are so lucky to produce wine in. We realistically can't because of all the production requirements that we follow, but as well as all the traveling that we do throughout the year to visit our importer clients.
Okay.
So we choose more of a personal strategy with regards to export.
Right.
We don't do a lot of fairs besides the obvious ones like Vinitaly and such, but rather we go to our export clients and we stay for a couple of days and we meet all their clients and do personal tastings with them to create a really face-to-face moment. So we do a lot of traveling.
Okay.
But we've seen that there's a great success in this as well, to communicate what we're doing. But But we are in the Degusteria a lot of the time.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, this project we did the grand opening 1 week ago.
Literally
So,
a week ago.
Yeah, so we will be there. We are there all the time because we work in the cellar, we work in here, whatever. But we have a help,
Of course.
and a young girl that really liked our project, and we try to involve her 360 degrees. So just to help us with the background work.
Also
and whatever.
to be always open.
Okay.
This is
Because
our
this
main,
is something that we really hate, when you have to go and check if Monday or Tuesday you open from 8 to
It just doesn't sit with
9:15 and
us.
whatever. Our
8 to
clients
9:15.
can't think about.
Yeah.
You have to know that from 11 o'clock to 7 p.m. we open,
Wow.
especially
It's a
in
big
a
day.
season, especially
Yeah.
in a season day. You know?
Right.
Like a lot of tourists, a lot of Germans, a lot of Austrians, a lot of North European people come down. So that's our target, and
Right.
we hope that we're gonna be able to do that. Anyways, it's better that we close already, you know, like, because that was one of our first
Yeah.
topic, that people come to Prepotto and they don't have a place to go
Right.
if
Just
they are
stay, a
in the
place to
wrong
stay.
in the wrong time or
Yeah.
in the wrong day, you know, and that's actually something that goes more further than just tasting our wines. In our degusteria, you have opportunity to have the Schioppettino di Prepotto experience, where we present in a tasting 5 different Schioppettino di Prepotto of other producers.
Really?
And every month we change producers.
Oh, that's amazing.
We don't wanna
It's
be-
almost unheard of that you. No, I'm being serious. That you actually let people taste other producers' wines in your winery. That's that's
territory-
shocking in the best way.
Thank you.
The village, that we need to sell the village, the territory. We need to sell the Schioppettino, and then everything is gonna happen. It's gonna be a success.
You know, no one ever won anything without the team behind them. Even if they are, even if it's a solo sport, they come with a massive team.
Of course, coaches and
Coaches,
trainers and
everything.
everybody.
And it's the same concept here. We cannot talk about the territory in isolation of everyone else that exists in the territory. And we don't want to. We want to be inclusive. We have that mentality. We are that kind of couple. We are those kind of people. And so for us, it's an absolute pleasure.
Right.
You know, for us to just build a cellar, to just build a tasting room where it's mostly closed, and just you need to phone for appointments, whatever, was not our target.
Okay.
Yeah.
We want to do something that
Seemed a bit obvious.
people talk about, people come, people enjoy it. It's gonna be interaction. It's gonna be fun. Like old generation creates such an intimidation from young generation into wine,
Right.
that people are running away from wine.
It's
and
true.
we know that the numbers are talking about, like, people don't drink wine anymore.
Right.
They drink spirits, they drink not alcoholic, because wine, they create too much as a castle of complication. If you're not sommelier,
And if you
you're not
and if you
this
don't
and
know the
that.
right tasting notes, you can't enjoy it. And if you
Right.
can't say the right thing, then you shouldn't be drinking it.
Wine is for everyone. Good wine is for everyone.
Right.
Bad wine shouldn't exist.
Right.
Okay, but that's what we're trying to do.
So, who are some of the wineries who you're working with right now that you've just opened? Who are some of the
So
ones that you can?
so we just try to put down a calendar and really turn everyone around.
Wow.
You know, especially people that follow the Association of Schioppettino di Prepotto. That's an association that in the last 20 years did a great job. Okay, it's a lot of work that still need to be done. Okay, and we're gonna try to do our best on that scenario, but to include everyone in Prepotto to have a place, but not for the wineries, for the client,
Right.
for the tourists that come to Prepotto and wants to know, wants to learn. That's gonna be a place where it learns.
Right. It's like a learning center, not just tasting. That's super impressive to me that you guys are including other wineries in your tasting room, and I think that's the key to success, is that you're not sort of saying, "Here we are," as Lenuzza, we're saying, "Here we are as Schioppettino di Prepotto." Super intelligent, really, really smart.
Thank you.
Compliments on that whole idea. of being able to do that, and having the vision to being able to do it. I think that whole idea, and I've read something recently about this as well, is that yes, younger people don't drink as much wine, but they're starting to see that people who are starting to sort of surpass like 30, 32 years old are going back to wine because they realize it's not something you drink to get drunk. It's less, I mean, people drink, craft beer and spirits because they want to, have fun on a Friday or Saturday night. Whereas once you get to a certain age, you start realizing that the whole purpose of wine isn't necessarily the buzz, although the buzz is kind of nice. But you start to understand that there's something more to it. There's a depth to it that may have been intimidating when you were a little bit younger, but now you're starting to appreciate the fact that you really enjoy sitting down with a glass of wine and just enjoying it, usually with friends, right? So
and that's also the style behind the Degusteria.
Okay.
We want to bring the elegance back to wine. It's not just an alcoholic beverage
Right.
that we are producing. It's actually extremely elegant. It's noble. It's a product that needs to be appreciated. It's a product that has tradition behind, culture. You need to give knowledge about these things. It's not just have a glass of wine because you want to party.
right.
We want to bring the elegance back, and that's why we've created this kind of wine tasting style. So we have specific wine pairings with each of the wine
Okay.
to build knowledge on, to make the wine more expressive once you taste it, to create conversation, all these kind of aspects.
Interesting.